ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्।
महागणपते नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। मातङ्गमुखा नमोस्तुते। मातङ्गमुखा नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। हिमाद्रिजासुत नमोस्तुते। हिमाद्रिजासुत नमोस्तुते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोस्तुते। साई ओंकारेश्वर नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। मातङ्गमुखा नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। हिमाद्रिजासुत नमोस्तुते। ओंकारेश्वर नमोस्तुते। साई ओंकारेश्वर नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई। बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई। बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई। बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। अल्लाह अल्लाह यीशु सतगुरु साई। गीता वेद कुरान हो 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 साई। तन में साई मन में साई। तन में साई मन में साई। रोम रोम में साई साई। रोम रोम में साई साई। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। बुद्ध महावीर यीशु साई। बुद्ध महावीर यीशु साई। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। अल्लाह यीशु सतगुरु साई। अल्लाह यीशु सतगुरु साई। गीता वेद कुरान हो साई। गीता वेद कुरान हो साई। तन में साई मन में साई। तन में साई मन में साई। रोम रोम में साई साई। रोम रोम में साई साई। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। वाहे गुरु बोल मनवा। बुद्ध महावीर यीशु साई। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते रामरूपाय। नमो भगवते रामरूपाय। नमो भगवते रामरूपाय। नमो भगवते रामरूपाय। नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय। नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय। नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय। नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम यीशु बुद्ध महावीर। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम यीशु बुद्ध महावीर। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम येषु बुद्ध महावीर। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम येषु बुद्ध महावीर। सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई देवाय, 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 सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई देवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नमो भगवते रामरूपाय, नमो भगवते रामरूपाय, नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय, नमो भगवते श्यामरूपाय, नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम येषु बुद्ध महावीर। राम रहीम कृष्ण करीम येषु बुद्ध महावीर। सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई देवाय, 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 सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई देवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। साईनाथ भगवान, 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 साईनाथ भगवान। सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान, सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान, सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान, सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान। साईनाथ भगवान, साईनाथ भगवान, साईनाथ भगवान, साईनाथ भगवान। बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान्।
सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान्।
साईनाथ भगवान्, साईनाथ भगवान्,
साईनाथ भगवान्, साईनाथ भगवान्।
बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि,
बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि,
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि,
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि,
संघं शरणं गच्छामि,
संघं शरणं गच्छामि,
सत्य साईश शरणं गच्छामि,
सत्य साईश शरणं गच्छामि,
सत्य साईश शरणं गच्छामि,
सत्य साईश शरणं गच्छामि।
साईनाथ भगवान्, साईनाथ भगवान्। महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा।
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा।
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा।
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा।
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
अल्लाह तुम महावीर येशु 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 साई नारायणा।
हृदयेश्वरा परमेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
हृदयेश्वरा परमेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
हृदयेश्वरा परमेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
हृदयेश्वरा परमेश्वरा साई नारायणा।
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा
नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायणा
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायणा अल्लाह तुम महावीर येशु साई नारायणा
अल्लाह तुम महावीर येशु साई नारायणा
हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायणा हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायणा
हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायणा
महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायणा भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
मात पिता बंधु सखा तुम हो 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 भगवान
ईश्वर भी तुम हो अल्लाह नानक तुम हो
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 प्रभु यीशु तुम हो महावीर 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 तुम हो
बुद्ध देव तुम हो मेरे प्राणनाथ 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 तुम हो
साई राम साई राम
साई राम साई राम
साई राम साई राम
साई राम साई राम
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान
मात पिता बंधु सखा तुम हो भगवान
मात पिता बंधु सखा तुम हो भगवान
ईश्वर भी तुम हो अल्लाह नानक तुम हो
ईश्वर भी तुम हो
देव तुम हो, मेरे प्राणनाथ तुम हो।
बुद्ध देव तुम हो, मेरे प्राणनाथ तुम हो।
साई राम साई राम
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 साई राम
भुवन बांधवा साई भगवान। राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे,
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे।
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे।
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे।
गुरु नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे,
नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे।
गुरु नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे।
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे,
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे।
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे।
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे।
सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे,
सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
बाबा सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
बाबा सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे, सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे,
अल्लाह ईश्वर साई हरे।
गुरु नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध हरे।
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे,
सौराष्ट्र महावीर साई हरे।
सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
बाबा सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
बाबा सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे।
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे,
राम हरे साई कृष्ण हरे।
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 सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई हरे। सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा,
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा।
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा,
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा।
सत्य साई देवा,
सत्य साई देवा।
सत्य साई देवा,
सत्य साई देवा।
बुद्धर नानक
अल्लाह यीशु बुद्धर नानक
अल्लाह यीशु बुद्धर नानक
अल्लाह यीशु बुद्धर नानक
सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
राष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
राष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो विश्वरूप तुम हो विश्वरूप तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
साई विश्वरूप तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा
धर्म प्रिय देवा
सत्य साई देवा
सत्य साई देवा
अल्लाह यीशु बुद्धर नानक
अल्लाह यीशु बुद्धर नानक
सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
महावीर तुम हो
राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो विश्वरूप तुम हो साई विश्वरूप तुम हो सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा
क्षीराब्धिशयन नारायण क्षीराब्धिशयन क्षीराब्धिशयन नारायण क्षीराब्धिशयन श्रीलक्ष्मी रमण नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण 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 श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण नरहरि रूप नारायण नरहरि रूप नरहरि रूप नारायण नरहरि रूप वैकुंठवास नारायण वैकुंठवास वैकुंठवास नारायण वैकुंठवास वैदेही मोहन नारायण हे वैकुंठवास नारायण वैकुंठवास वैदेही मोहन नारायण नारायण लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण लक्ष्मी नत जन परिपाल नारायण नत जन परिपालन क्षीराब्धिशयन नारायण क्षीराब्धिशयन क्षीराब्धिशयन नारायण क्षीराब्धिशयन श्रीलक्ष्मी रमण नारायण వాస నారాయణ వైదేహి మోహన నారాయణ వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ వైకుంఠవాస వైదేహి రమణ నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ నరహరి రూప నారాయణ నరహరి రూప నారాయణ క్షీరాబ్ది శయన నారాయణ శ్రీలక్ష్మీ రమణ నారాయణ.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering our most humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved master, Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. On behalf of all present here today, we pray to him for the grace and blessings that we put every bit of his message, of his instructions into practice in day-to-day life. And foremost, we all continue to commit ourselves to remember that one thing that Bhagwan told all of us, that if there is God existing on the face of this entire being, cosmos, that God resides in the heart of each one of us and not outside. The second diktat that Master told us was, the essence of life is to win the war between the mind and the conscience, where the mind shuts down and the voice of conscience becomes paramount and strong. Strong enough to tell each one of us to convert it into action, to ensure that we form the habit of listening to the conscience as against the diktats of the mind. And that, in a sense, is a true sadhana. Dear brothers and sisters, today indeed is a red letter day in the history of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. I don't believe that in the history of independent India, at any point of time, except outside the purview of the judicial framework or the judicial calls, has at any spiritual place there has been a congregation of more than 65 judges of the Indian country. And each one of them a master human being, each one of them a reflection of divinity that Bhagwan always endeared us to. And what a subject and what a topic. Absolutely the need of the hour, and what Bhagwan wanted us to learn, practice and inspire the world. The Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations India, the Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations International, the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust and the Sri Sathya Sai Trusts in every state of India forms the framework of the organization which is committed to spread the message of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. The Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization is a very unique organization. It is not a registered body, it is not an NGO, but a massive collection of inspired human beings who want to unconditionally love society and unconditionally serve society is the mandate of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. And the uniqueness of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization, brothers and sisters, is that this is an organization of people that strives to improve their own selves. Our motto is not to improve anybody else, but our motto is transforming self to transform the world, and that is the mandate that Bhagwan has given to the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. It is in this trend of thinking that you will find throughout the length and breadth of the country, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from east to west, whichever corner you go, you will find dedicated followers of the message of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba who have been unconditionally dedicating their lives to the service of mankind, unheard of till today. Bhagavan always inspired us that be, do, and then tell. And his message was very clear. In today's world, we create a lopsided world for ourselves. In today's world, man has lost value and everything else has become valuable. As we always say, my property is more valuable than me. The money is more valuable than me. My watch is more valuable than me. But we've forgotten that all these things have value only because I use that. I live in my home and therefore it has value. I wear the watch and therefore it has value. I sit in my car and therefore it has value. We've created a lopsided world. And what Bhagavan did, brothers and sisters, is to come on the face of this earth and with love and compassion kept on telling us for 80 long years, Divyatma Swarup Dulara. You are God, I am God, I know that I am God, but I've come to tell you that you also are God. And this is the kind of revaluation of mankind that Bhagavan came to do on the face of this earth. And this is relevant to today's great conference that we are doing. Because Bharat, India, as Bhagavan always said, is destined to become the leader, the spiritual leader of the entire world, which Bhagavan kept us telling us all the time. And what was the reason? Because we have the constitution that enshrines the value of man in its highest form, brothers and sisters. Our constitution, our preamble, we gave it to ourselves because our culture told us that man is most important in the entire creation. Manushya Janma Durlabham, Bhagavan reminded us all the time that the values of man is a reflection of divinity. And Bhagavan used to tell us that I've come to tell you that whatever you need to understand and experience lies within yourself. The power of God lies within ourselves. And self-confidence is our birthright, is what Bhagavan came to remind us. In this context, India has a great role to perform. As my brothers have mentioned earlier today afternoon and just now, the destiny of India is to spiritually lead the world. And spirituality is not the horse day-to-day life. I remember in the Mumbai High Court, I don't know how many of you have crossed the Central Court. Outside the Central Court is embedded a plaque of Lokmanya Tilak. When he says, there's a higher destiny that governs me, the higher law that governs me than the laws of this country. And that plaque still remains for so many years in the Central Court of the Mumbai High Court. We pass by it day in and day out. Very few people ponder and think about it, what Tilak said at that time in the famous trial in the Central Court of the Mumbai High Court. And that's the truth. Because if you understand man, Bhagavan said that the preamble, the Constitution of India, where we've given ourselves the value, the dignity of man, equality, and as the learned CJI today afternoon said at the end of his speech, that above the Constitution of India, there is no religion, no caste, nothing. The Constitution is supreme as far as this country is concerned. And how is it possible? How is it possible to achieve the goal and the spirit and the experience of the preamble of the Constitution? The focus comes to man. Because, as they say, the rule of law, if you have to interpret the rule of law as the dharma of the nation, as what we need to do, Bhagavan explained this very well in the context of human values. When he says that when conscience is supreme, and when conscience tells you from inside, do this, and when you put that into practice, it is dharma. Putting conscience into action is dharma. And when you form this habit of putting conscience into action and abiding by the dharma, the natural feeling, experience is of peace. Therefore, if the nation wants peace, it has to learn to put conscience into action, juxtaposed to the diktats of the mind. And therefore, Bhagavan gave us the beautiful program of 3HV. When he said, when the head demands something, pause for the moment. Listen to your conscience and then decide. The values of the head, heart and hand were the essence of the message and the legacy of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. At this juncture, I must mention and remember the doyen of the Constitution of India, Shri Nani Palkhiwala. I remember as a young lawyer, I was mandated to receive Nani from the airport at Bangalore and bring him to Prashanthi Nilayam for the convocation address. And as a young lawyer, sitting for 3 hours from Bangalore airport, coming to Prashanthi Nilayam, I was excited and I wanted to create conversation with him. And you can imagine the mindset of mine sitting with Palkhiwala in the car for 3 hours and nobody else except Nani, myself and the driver. So came out of my mind an ad hoc question. I said, Nani, you're a Parsi. Why would you go to a Afro-head Sai Baba in Andhra Pradesh? And he said, Nimish, I'm going there only for one reason. Because I see the future in the message of Bhagwan Sri Sat Sai Baba. And I asked him, why? He says, for the first time I have heard somebody say that the end of education must be character, and the university, which the Baba has said, is focused upon creating young men and women of character. And then he said, you know what character, many people define character in different ways. But I like what Bhagwan has said, that character is that in a man where he has the capacity to unite his thought, word and deed into one united factor. And that's why I'm going to Prashanthi Nilayam. And the beautiful thing that I asked him again next time, he says, Nani, what do you think is the problem with India? You know, I'm just a young man, I'm just creating conversation. What are the crises that India faces? He turned out and said very beautifully, Nimish, India faces no crisis. There is no crisis of water. We have so much water that it will quench the thirst of the entire cosmos. There's no crisis of food because we have so much food that we can feed people all over the world. There is no crisis of money. Every day we are being cheated, but still we are talking of a 6% growth, and that's a miracle, because a bottomless pit still growing at 6% is only a miracle. There's no crisis of money in this country. But there is only one crisis, he said, Nimish, in India, and that is we are facing the character crisis. In our social fabric, we've forgotten to unite our thought, word and deed into one. The parents, they say something else, they talk something else, do something else. The doctors, they say something else, talk something else, do something else. The lawyers, they say something else, do something else, talk something else. The leaders, I don't want to comment upon them. The question is, every fabric, every aspect of society is guilty today of being discordant in the thought, word and deed, which is the hallmark of character in a human being, as Bhagwan Baba has mentioned. It is this what needs to be corrected. And here, as India goes, we are truly grateful to the Indian judiciary. Right from times that we've had the judiciary to support this skeleton, this structure of the Indian democracy, we are grateful to this judiciary. Because they have been the watchdogs who've been helping us. Wherever there is an aberration, it is this judiciary which comes forward and corrects it for the well-being of the Indian society. And today I want to take this platform that on behalf of the Sri Sat Sai Seva organizations, I want to congratulate the Indian judiciary for having done a fantastic job for all these years in the Indian situation. Each one deserves. And therefore, it is not surprising that every time when a judge came to Prashanthi Nilayam, every time a district judge came to Prashanthi Nilayam, every time a lawyer came to Prashanthi Nilayam, Swami was there with all his love and affection, guiding each one of them. And therefore you will see in the 2 manuscripts that have been produced and released today, great giants of the legal luminaries have expressed their opinions of their interaction with Bhagwan Sri Sat Sai Baba. Not because he was a spiritual guru, not because he started a new religion, not because he had something else to say, but only for one reason, that somewhere down the line, Bhagwan touched the chord of that conscience and raised the level of that consciousness so that each one of them had expressed their experience, that yes, they were fortified in their life's experience that what they had done was correct, and they left it as a legacy for the judicial and the new lawyers to come. As a part of this conference, brothers and sisters, why would the Sat Sai Seva organization take this up as a conference material? There are many conferences that happen, many decisions are taken. But we have realized today that Bhagwan Sri Sat Sai Baba has touched the heart of millions of legal luminaries and lawyers throughout the length and breadth of this country. Even if I have to go and say with great admiration, many of my learned judges who are here, you'll be surprised to know that there have been Sevadal working in the organization who are now elevated to the benches of various high courts. We have Balvika students who have become judges of the various high courts. And therefore I say that if the Satya Sai organization is able to create this platform, a new chapter of all involved in the legal system, the judiciary, you will find that there are thousands and thousands of lawyers and judges and legal officers who have been touched by Bhagwan's love and are willing to come forward and form a synergy of another kind that can change the entire destiny of this country, India. And that is the fond hope for which we are here. At the end of the 2 days, brothers and sisters, like any other conference, I'm sure we'll come out with an action plan. But I can assure you that when this action plan is presented at the divine lotus feet of Bhagwan Ji Sat Sai Baba, there is no question of failure. There is no question of a setback. Succeed we will and succeed we must in ensuring that the entire lifestyle of this country changes with the help of the great legal luminaries whom we will support as an organization. There are various things we can do. I'm very happy to share with you that the Honorable CJ of Andhra Pradesh High Court, Telangana High Court, who's here with us today, when he was the judge of the Kerala High Court, he started a program called Sai Niti, which was nothing but a study circle of lawyers and judges. And I understand that that exercise proved to be so fruitful that it changed the mindset of the bar in Kerala in many, many ways. And I'm sure His Lordship will agree with me that his great contribution to the study circles in the Kerala bar has been a great success in many, many ways. The human values education, brothers and sisters, is something that we want to try our best, and with the help of all our brothers and sisters on the bar and on the bench, we want to ensure that the young lawyers of tomorrow come with that great confidence that conscience is most important. When you sit on the bench and you sit in the bar, when you're there, you are full of compassion, you're full of love, and a complete conscious level that is of an amazing nature. Bhagwan used to always say that knowledge must be skilled. But that's not enough. When knowledge is skilled, there must be poise, there must be balance. Because when knowledge is skilled with balance, then comes the beautiful factor of insight, and that insight becomes resplendent in your character, in your nature. And when you can imagine, when all young lawyers and young judicial officers, when they sit on the bench, or lawyers when they are practicing in the court, are there with knowledge, skill, poise and insight, what a lovely thing it could be for every human being in this country. If we have to succeed and ensure that culture sets right, if our culture is upheld, if our young men and women to be strong men of character, if society where family as a unit, when women to be protected, young people to be protected, are to be taken care of, we need a very strong, conscious judiciary, which we already have. And today what we need to do from today is to enhance and see that we support this great judiciary with all the help that we can give in creating young men and women of great character. And for that, we are duty bound as a Sat Sai organization to put our best foot forward and take it care. In the fond hope of creating the legal chapter of the Sri Sat Sai Seva organization, I am already sure that there are nothing less than more than 2 to 3 lakh officers who are Baba devotees. And if they come together, imagine the synergy that can transform the face of their life. Last year, we brought all the doctors together. This year, we have the legal brothers and sisters together. And as we go further, Bhagwan has already touched every aspect of society. He has given his love to everyone. All we need to do is now join the dots together and see what a great imagery Bhagwan has already created for us to understand. With these few words, I thank you very much for hearing patiently, and I urge upon all of you to join us in this great mission of human values that Bhagwan has said today in the context of the Indian judiciary and the legal system. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you very much, sir.
Namaste.
आत्मलिङ्ग शिव तू, आत्मलिङ्ग शिव तू।
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे, भक्त जना संरक्षक, भक्त जना संरक्षक, पति महेश्वरा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे, शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते, स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते, आश्रित कल्पलतिका, आश्रित कल्पलतिका, आपदान्धवा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे, मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरि अन्तयु नीवे, स्वामी मरि अन्तयु नीवे। नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ, नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ, नागेन्द्राशयन। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे, ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा, सत्य साई महादेवा। मंगल आरती अंधुको, मंगल आरती अंधुको, मंगल गिरिधारी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम, सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम। जय सद्गुरुदेवा, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम, सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम। जय सद्गुरुदेवा, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम, नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम, सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम। जय सद्गुरुदेवा। शांति शांति शांति, समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। शांति शांति शांति।